Happy holidays, gang. Come on in. Pull up a chair. The Gaming Gang Dispatch is in the air. Howdy, gang, and welcome once again to the Duct Tape Studios. I'm Jeff McAleer, your host here at the Gaming Gang Dispatch, brought to you by, interestingly enough, thegaminggang.com, of which I happen to be the founder and editor-in-chief. So welcome aboard, everyone. Tonight is Tuesday, December 16th, 2025. This is live show 1268. Yikes. If you're not overly familiar with the show, let me point out it's super casual around here. Simply hanging out, talking about the latest in tabletop role-playing game news. And then I will normally take a first look at a tabletop role-playing game release. Now, once in a while, we talk board games. From time to time, I might tackle a topic which is related to our hobby. But for the most part, we kind of stick to role-playing games these days. So keep in mind, just having fun. We're just hanging out. We are certainly not engaged in anything strenuous like rocket surgery or anything along those lines. Of course, when you're not watching videos on the Gaming Gang channel, be sure to visit thegaminggang.com for all latest in tabletop gaming news, reviews, and a whole lot more you are not going to find here on YouTube. You know the drill. Get your geek on at thegaminggang.com. And then, of course, because this is a live show, that does mean there's chat available. Now, you must be a subscriber to the channel in order to take part in chat, and you have to be a subscriber for at least an hour. So if you check that off, check off that box, and you want to say howdy, maybe got a question, a comment, by all means, chime in. I will do my absolute best to respond. First out the gate tonight is our good friend of the show, the Madman. DB is with us, as is Dark Autumn Scribe. I will take a guess that it's possible that the lovely and talented Miss Sarah D may be with us as well, another of our chat moderators, alongside the Madman. Anywho, welcome everybody. I gotta say, this past weekend, what a bummer. I mean, what just a complete, every time you turned around, it was something else horrific happening somewhere in this world. And I have got to be very honest with you. Doing these shows really does help me deal with the just insanity that is out there in the world. And I know I've gotten some emails from people as well saying that, hey, you know what? When things are dark, it's always good to be able to just tune in and just kind of kick back and relax and not worry about the insanity that is out there. But yeah, man, what a unbelievable. So once again, happy holidays to everyone. Happy Hanukkah to those out there who celebrate. Yes. Unlike last week, I actually now know when Hanukkah starts. I'm sorry, I'm a fallen Catholic. What can I tell you? I'm lucky I can tell you when Christmas is. That's not true. And yes, Sarah D is with us tonight. Let me take a quick peek here. Looks like our stream health, fingers crossed, is all right. Our last show, with about 6 minutes to go, YouTube just dumped me. I was like, what? I was like, I don't know. I don't know what the hell's going on. So I wrapped up the show as quickly as I, could, because sometimes it's weird. Sometimes you'll actually see stuff that you think isn't there. You think that YouTube has dropped, and then later on, after the video's been up for a few days, all of a sudden it's there. That was not the case. So it did cut me off. Super bummer. Super bummer. Hopefully, YouTube's going to behave tonight because it was not on my end. In fact, I ran some tests with my internet just a few moments ago. Everything is A-okay. Watch, all the power goes off. And whoops. Well, it wasn't the internet. And let's see, Pete Strakulich is with us tonight. We can thank Pete Strakulich for what we'll be taking a peek at this evening. And I do see Kevin R. Smith has joined us in chat too. So tonight we're going to dive in. We're going to take a peek at Dungeon Crawl Classics Tome of Adventure Volume 4, The Purple Planet. I believe the main author on this is Harley Stroh, which normally means this should be pretty good. So we'll be taking a peek at this in just a bit. If you are tuning in for the first look at the Purple Planet, we always tackle the tabletop gaming news first around here. So it'll probably be about 35, maybe 40 minutes before we get into that first look. So just letting you know. And of course, if you're watching live, just kick your feet up, relax, enjoy yourself. But if you are watching this after the stream has ended, possibly on Memorex, keep in mind there will be timestamps. So depending on the device you might be watching this on, you might actually have those timestamps right there in the timeline of the video. I should also mention, if you are watching this on a mobile device, you can also hit that hype button. That is something new for phones and tablets, not on PC, not on, Macs or anything like that. It's got to be a tablet or phone, but you could actually spend some free hype points to help spread the word about this video. All right, let's jump on into the news, because landing in stores from Cubicle 7 Games is the Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay Sea Wardens of Kothik. Here's the latest. A guide to the inhabitants of the maritime kingdom of Kothik and port of Tor Korai. Get ready, there's going to be a lot of mispronounced places in this. The lands of Kothik have a wildness to them. In comparison to many other kingdoms of Ulthian, they are windswept and untamed. In ages past, these lands were threatened by Norse raiders and dark elf corsairs. But the creation of these shifting isles prevents hostile fleets from navigating the Kothik's shores. Freed from obvious dangers, the nobles of Kothik indulge in intrigues and temptations, allowing hidden threats to inveigle their way into the neglected corners of their orderly realm. Agents of chaos and the dread king of Nagaroth stir up trouble and pave the way for a future conquest of the kingdom. You'll find a guide to the land of Kothik, including an in-depth look at the port city of Tor Koralai and the mysterious places and artifacts that may be found there. There are several important high elf patrons, including Prince Doloran and his children, Princess Lethares of House Starshard, and Sirion Fleetcrest, the master of the palace grounds. The book also gives details of several ongoing interests these individuals are involved in. You'll find several threats to Kothik and Ulthian, such as the Norse infiltrator Revna Tharvig, monstrous creatures such as the dreaded Kraken, and the capricious sprite Seliu. Creatures of Ulthian, including the White Lion, Flame Spire Phoenix, and Swift Feather Rock, are new adventure hooks and ideas, including a plot by Nagaroth's most dangerous agent to befoul the rivers of Kothik. Expanded intrigues, including ideas on how to run a counter-intrigue, such as a spying mission, subterfuge of enemy agents, and assassinations. This 96-page hardcover with PDF is landing in stores. It carries an MSRP of $34.99. Of course, you will receive the PDF absolutely free if you happen to order from Cubicle 7 Games. If you want to just grab the PDF alone, you can do so over at DriveThruRPG for $19.99. I believe this is one of the last releases for the 4th edition of Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay, because 2026, I do believe, is going to bring us the 5th edition of WIFRIP, which I am curious about. Now, according to Cubicle 7 Games, everything that's already been printed for 4th edition is going to be compatible with 5th edition. So we shall see. We shall see what happens. Kathy Evans and J-Man are with us in chat. Good to see you both once again. So move on to our next news piece, because something else arriving in stores this week is the Shadow Scar starter set. And I've got the lowdown from our Talsorian Games. Decades ago, a war between gods spilled out across the many worlds of the mosaic. Terrible monsters called yokai found their way into the countless dimensions, preying on the unsuspecting natives from the shadows. To counteract this monstrous threat, the Shadow Scar Agency was created. The organization is made up of secret agents trained in the ancient arts of ninjutsu. Scour the multiverse. I almost said universe. It is a multiverse to find the yokai and put a stop to their vile plans. In Mask of the Green Demon, you'll take on the role of one of these agents as you struggle to uncover the identity of an enigmatic kingpin known only as the Green Demon. This goal will take you across the mosaic as you unravel mysteries, discover clues, and face terrible threats. The Shadow Scar starter set is the perfect introduction to the many worlds of a mosaic, and includes a booklet full of lore on the worlds and factions of Shadow Scar, a booklet with all the essential rules needed to play right out of the box, as well as another booklet which contains the 52-page Mask of the Green Demon adventure. You'll find 6 customizable characters, a set of Shadow Scar themed dice, maps, and tokens to help bring the world of Shadow Scar to life will round out the package. The box set with PDF carries an MSRP of $30. If you want to just grab the PDF, you can do so once again over at DriveThruRPG for $15. I know this came out a while ago in PDF because I shared news about it then, but now the physical box set is available, and I gotta say, $30 for what seems to probably be over 100 pages of content, plus dice, character sheets, tokens, and such. Sounds like a pretty good deal for that starter set. It really does. Higzilla and Russell Higgins are with us tonight. Welcome. Moving on to our next news piece. Let's save you some money because Mongoose Publishing is teamed with Bundle of Holding for a couple of Traveler role-playing game deals. So here's the first deal, and I've got the deets on Traveler Explorations. Traveler! This revived November 2022 Mongoose Traveler Explorations bundle is the first of 2 offers in progress, featuring the 2nd edition Traveler tabletop role-playing game from Mongoose Publishing. Start your travels right here with everything you need to play any science fiction role-playing game campaign. From desperate battles across the stars against evil empires, through free traders operating on both sides of the law, to mercenary companies desperate to find their next ticket. Traveler lets you explore the universe the way it suits you. For just $12.95, you'll get all 3 titles, in this revived offers starter collection, with a retail value of $97, has DRM-free PDFs, including Mongoose's Complete Traveler Core Rulebook Update 2022. And then it says, in its current 2022 update version, yeah, because that's the title of the book. Sometimes I wonder if these companies ever actually look at the sell sheet info they put together. I would think this is put together by Bundle of Holding and AI. So, also for that $12.95, you'll get the Sector source books Behind the Claw and Sword Worlds. And if you pay more than the current threshold price of $27.98, which may have changed by a few cents, you'll level up and also get this Revival's entire bonus collection with 6 more titles worth an additional $126, including Aliens of Charted Space Volumes 1 and 2, the Sword Worlds campaign Skandersvik, 2 Spinward subsector source books, the Bowman Arm and the Leunian Shield Worlds, and Deneb Adventure 1, The Lost Duke. These savings will run through January 5th. Wallona's Cave says, Sword World? Welcome, Wallona's Cave. Yes, but it's not the role-playing game Sword World from, isn't that Two Little Mice and Free League Publishing? Just did that. So Kevin R. Smith is pointing out some other Traveler news. I'll be the first to point out there is a load of Mongoose Publishing news right this moment. So the new Space Trucker supplement I will talk about tomorrow. There is also another release from Mongoose Publishing that may have slipped under people's radars. I will bring that to the news portion, and that will be on Thursday's show. And then, of course, there's the other bundle over at Bundle of Holding. I will share a news piece about that. I will not be talking about that, though, because, for one, you know, I don't like to double dip with companies for news. Just like there's an awesome Goodman Games bundle that's out there right this moment. I will tell you about it tomorrow because we're already taking a peek at the Purple Planet tonight. So there you go. So Malona's Cave said, yes, that's right. It's Space Trucker. Yes, and it's got like an oddball sort of play on the F-bomb. So I gotta say, it looks kind of weird. I will say it looks very different than what you're probably used to from Traveler. Just like the other Mongoose Publishing release is going to be very different from what you're used to seeing as well. So stay tuned for that. So Hawks YZ250 is joining us in chat. So welcome aboard. I believe that is someone who visits quite often. And I think YouTube's just giving him a new name tonight. Very possible. Very possible. All right. So you're not saving enough money with this bundle of holding? Okay, I'll tell you what. Right now, there is a huge deal on Kobold Press 5e Dungeons and Dragons Adventures. It is over on Fanatical. I got to be honest. I stumbled across this today, and it is one of the shorter running Fanatical deals that I've seen. Now, it's possible that this was hidden someplace and I just didn't run across it, but I got the skinny on the Dark Fantasy in the Shadows bundle. Grab your dice, gather your characters, and embark on a series of new adventures with the Dark Fantasy in the Shadows bundle. Fanatical are proud to partner with the sensational Kobold Press to offer a stacked lineup of 5e Dungeons & Dragons RPG books to pit your characters and party against new foes and new realms with this 4-tier bundle. Snap up the first tier absolutely free and collect a selection of books that's a perfect introduction to Kobold Press. Within this bundle are a stunning selection of supplements, adventure modules, campaigns, manuals, codices, and much more for your character to experience and battle through. Discover some standout books like Tales of the Old Margrave and delve into the ancient magical forest with 12 adventures for levels 1 through 10, along with a selection of new spells, items, and monsters. Sharpen your blade. It's time to head into the forest. Explore the mysteries that lie within the 12 peculiar towers and pit your characters against traps, hazards, and plenty of enemies. Courts of the Shadow Face sets your character off in a world of intrigue and adventure in the Shadow Realm. This planar adventure is designed for characters levels 7 to 10, is packed with NPCs, over 60 locations within the courts, and more than 40 combat and role-playing encounters. Pick up this bundle today and set off on grand adventures for untold riches. You will also notice Empire of the Ghouls is part of this bundle. I love that campaign. I reviewed that campaign a few years ago. Definitely check it out. All the products included in this promotion will be redeemed through Drive-Thru RPG. Bundle keys have to be redeemed before November 4th of next year. So you can jump aboard for free. It's going to get you 3 PDFs. Or you can go all in for $19.99, which will get you all 37 PDFs on offer. How can you say no to that? That is a smoking deal. You're talking less than $1 per PDF. Now, these savings run through December 30th. So there you have that. Yes, it is Mark Hawkswell. And I did see spelling mistake is with us. It's actually spelling mistake. But I know where they're going. All right. So once again, a couple of excellent bundles for you. I know people talk about Traveler all the time. You're like, I'd love to try Traveler, but the price dissuades them. And I can certainly understand that. Now, this has the core book and then supplements. So you're not getting High Guard. You're not getting the vehicle catalog, things like that. Now, I got to be honest, I have not taken a peek at the other of the offers from Bundle of Holding. I think it's the Ancients campaign. So you may not see the High Guard, updated High Guard with it either. But I'm just pointing out, pretty rocking deal there to jump aboard Traveler. And then, of course, with Fanatical, we talk about this all the time. Fanatical puts together some fabulous offers out there. They go neck and neck with Humble Bundle a lot. And I will actually talk about Humble Bundle after the news. What? Huh? After the news? Yes, that's right, because we're going to wrap up tonight's news section as Orange Cat Games has launched a Kickstarter project to fund the old school adventure Tome of the Ancient Moor King. Here's what I know. An ancient tomb, a fading bard, a new generation of heroes. The venerable adventurer Targan the Bard has learned about a long-forgotten ancient tomb and has chosen your adventuring party to explore it. He's only asking one thing in return. I gotta be honest, I don't know what that one thing is. Are you ready to make history? This is a black and white adventure for the original fantasy role-playing game for characters levels 4 to 6. Now, of course, it's easily adaptable to any fantasy role-playing game system and can be used as part of your home campaign or as a one-shot adventure. There are fully detailed pre-generated characters provided with the tale. Now, there is a short Kickstarter video. It's only about 30 seconds. It's going to share some additional artwork. So let's take a peek.
Do you remember?
Or maybe not. You know, I always forget one thing. Always forget one thing. All right, so give me a second. I will swap. I plugged in the wrong news video. I have news video 2 in here. It was supposed to be news video 1. Give me a moment. Hey, see, this is what happens watching live.
Do you remember? This used to be a beautiful land, and for 1,000 years, we lived in peace and harmony.
I told you it was only 30 seconds. Now, this Kickstarter has already met its $2,000 funding goal. You can reserve a copy of the softcover with PDF for a $30 pledge. If you want to just score the PDF alone, you can do so for a $10 pledge through January 20th. There are some other pledge levels as well. Of course, you saw that there's miniatures and such, but those are the starting pledge levels, I guess I will say. Now, this is supposed to be finished. All the artwork is done. So the expected fulfillment is actually next March. And this runs through January 20th. I will mention the mastermind behind the Philadelphia Area Gaming Expo, which I will be at a month from today. In fact, it'll be the second day of the show, is the author of this adventure. In fact, Orange Cat Games, I believe, is his company. And this is their first product. So by all means, if you're looking for an old school adventure, give it a peek. All right. So that is it for the news tonight. Of course, I mentioned TTRPG. Don't forget, the Gaming Gang, thus the Dispatch, is affiliated with the One Bookshelf sites. So if you're going to go visit TTRPG, Storytellers Vault, Dungeon Masters Guild, Wargame Vault, what have you, there are a great number of One Bookshelf sites. Please stop by thegaminggang.com first. Click on one of our banners. That way, if you happen to make a purchase, I get a small portion of that sale. There are a couple other ways you can support the outlet if you would like. First, by making a one-time donation by way of PayPal. Hell, you can buy me a 2-liter bottle of soda. It's refreshing. Because we got all the way up to 30-some degrees today. Amazing. Well, I mean, we were in single digits over the weekend, so there is that. And then, of course, you can also support the Gaming Gang by becoming a monthly member of our Patreon. You'll find links in the show notes. Also in the show notes, you're going to find an invite link to our Discord server. It's absolutely free to sign up and come hang with the gang over on Discord. Last thing I will mention, the semi-annual used game sale is currently running. It will run through the 19th, so you only got a few more days left to take advantage, and there will not be another used game sale until next June. Something to keep in mind. Kevin R. Smith said Chicago had similar weather to their neck of the woods the last few days. Oh, yeah. DB said, I'm Canadian. When I heard 30 degrees, I was like, what? Yeah, Fahrenheit. Yep. I also want to give a big shout out to our Patreon members, which I do on the live streams. So a big thank you to Adrian Carpio, Gustavo Covalho, Herman Letman, Jason Lawman, Kubal, Kevin R. Smith, Sean O'Donnell, Talzak, Dan Webb, GameCat, Kevin King, Pete Straklich, RPG Munch, Tessie Trekkie, Tier 2 DM, Agile Monk, and the Madman. Thank you all. It is vastly appreciated. All right, so tonight we're going to be diving on in. We're going to be taking a look at Dungeon Crawl Classics Tome of Adventure Volume 4, The Purple Planet. In just a few minutes, I wanted to mention that I had actually ordered the Humble Bundle, which was the last call for Lankhmar, Dungeon Crawl Classics. That Humble Bundle ended, and I finally got the stuff. Well, I had gotten the PDFs. So it was all 15 of the Lankhmar adventures for Dungeon Crawl Classics in PDF. So I had already gotten those. But they had not shipped out the physical items until a few days ago, and I just got it, which includes the box set for Lankhmar, the 15th adventure, The House of Jade and Shadow, and then Tome of Adventure Volume 3, Lankhmar, which has the first 8 of the adventures. So I was like, sweet. If I remember correctly, the Humble Bundle was $35 donation. And then I had to pay for shipping. And the shipping was $12 and some cents. I'm not going to shoot videos about, oh, hey, let's do a first look at the Lankhmar box, because you're not going to be able to get this anymore. So I was last call for Lankhmar because the license ran out. It was not renewed by the, move that out of the way. Was not renewed by the what would we call it? The estate. There you go. The estate of Fritz Leiber. But although who picked it up? I thought someone in chat one day, we were talking about this a few weeks ago. Maybe it was when I was sharing the news of the bundle, and it was somebody had said some other company now had the license. You know, it was weird. I remember when Pinnacle Entertainment Group was releasing Lankhmar stuff for Savage Worlds, and then Goodman Games started coming out with their Lankhmar, and it was like, and it was at the same time. I was like, that's a weird overlap. Anyway, so I was excited. I was excited to check that out. And I just ordered. So that was one of my one of my Christmas presents to myself. Other Christmas present to myself, I picked up Caverns of Thracia for 5e. The Goodman Games edition, because it was on sale, amazingly enough, through Walmart. It was pointed out to me on Discord. For some reason, I think it was Pete Straklich who mentioned it. And then it was weird because it was like, oh, hey, order it and you'll have it before Christmas. And I was like, oh, okay, free shipping. I'm like, yeah, all right. Place the order. And then it's like, oh, it'll arrive by January 7th. And I was like, that's not Christmas. Well, I figured, yeah, I've got the original Adventures Reincarnated volumes 1 through 6. And I know there are people out there who are pissed that Goodman Games isn't printing copies of those because they're really pricey on the secondary market. But This is the Coast is like, no, well, we allowed you to do that, and that's over with. But for some odd reason, there are people out there who are pissed at Goodman Games, and it's like, okay. So I was like, okay, so I've got that, and I've got Dark Tower, which is volume 8, I think. Or maybe it's volume 7. I don't have the Grimm's Tooth's Traps, which is, I think, 7 or 8. But I figured, yeah, what the hell? I might as well. It's on sale. I saved like $20. It's kind of cool. Captain Infinity Time Travel Police is with us tonight. Welcome aboard. DB says they were really pricey in the first place, too. Yeah. I will agree with you on that. But I every once in a while, I treat myself. Not often, every once in a while. All right, so as I mentioned, tonight we're going to take a look at DCC Tome of Adventure Volume 4, The Purple Planet from Goodman Games. Yes. I do believe, as I mentioned in the open, I think the main author on this is Harley Stroh, which if that's the case, that usually is an indicator of quality. So we're going to be taking a look at the Purple Planet in just a few moments. But first, I think it's time for a brief intermission.
It's intermission time, folks. Time out for a delicious snack in our sparkling refreshment building. Every item a fresh, appetizing taste treat.
The Christmas season is celebrated all over the world and in many different ways, depending on deep-rooted legend, folklore, and tradition. The Greeks carried a torch for Christmas. They were the first to use gaily colored lights. Germany was the home of the Christmas tree. There are many traditions associated with the Yule log. In England, it means luck to cut the logs at midnight. Dry spruce is used in Scandinavia because its sparks chase the witches away. Magical powers are credited to the charred ash in many countries. In France, ashes under the bed protect the house from lightning. In Holland, the children leave their wooden shoes in front of the fireplace. In Spain, the children put their shoes at the window. And here's an American tradition which Santa Claus has taken a liking to. Yes, there are different ways of observing Christmas, but its message is always the same all over the world. Peace on earth, goodwill to all men.
Christmas gift from Radio Shack.
Before Christmas, they claimed they were bored. But then I found Radio Shack's incredible selection of electronic games. He's rescuing the fair maiden with the Kingman game. She's exploring dangerous new worlds with Zackman. And with the alien chase game, he can do space battle with an opponent or by himself. There are more gifts if anyone's bored. I won!
Fascinating electronic games from $7.95 to $59.95, only at Radio Shack.
Scrooge here. I've turned over a new leaf after leafing through Sears' Gifts of Value supplement from the newspaper. Why, when a codger like me goes from no Christmas list to this, Sears Super Values help. Look, I'm giving a microwave to cook the holiday bird, clothes to warm their spirits, a color TV, and powerfully handy craftsman tools. The Sears supplement in this week's paper offers you a generous helping of ideas, too. And that's no humbug.
Sears, where America shops.
When two romantic go-getting guys are in love with a hard-to-get girl, the wedding march is sure going to be paced by the battle hymn of the Republic.
I like 'em loose.
And what an...
Oh, now. Have a wife? Connie, I've loved you for a long time. Connie, I think Carl is just about one of the nicest fellows I could ever hope to meet. But I think you ought to marry me. You know a man named Steve Mason?
What's the matter? Did something happen to him?
He's down at the precinct in a lot of trouble. He claims you might be able to clear it up.
The romantic relationships of the parties involved have nothing to do with this case. You've got nothing but the weakest kind of circumstantial evidence.
What's he got to do with this, anyway?
He's my attorney.
Well, he's my fiancé. We're to be married New Year's Day.
And what were you doing in the park with this guy 8 o'clock Christmas morning?
There you have it. Another classic Christmas movie that is long forgotten. It's actually a pretty good movie, too. And you're never expecting Robert Mitchum to show up in a romantic comedy. It's like, really? Okay. I always got a kick out of Robert Mitchum because he always gives you, you see him on film and it's kind of like, does he even give a shit? I do understand he liked to smoke a little of the reefer. In fact, he was one of the stars at, what the hell was it Tattler? Or am I thinking of LA Confidential? Or was it called Hush Hush? I forget. There was some scandal mag. It was like, you know, the granddaddy of like the National Enquirer and stuff like that. And I guess Robert Mitchum was one of the stars that was like always getting caught doing stuff that was pretty sketchy or, I mean, illegal because, you know, marijuana was illegal in California at that point in time. And the studios always had to pay off the magazine to keep shit out. Or they would like, this was pretty cruel. They would pay off the magazine and toss them another story about somebody else who was not as big a star, who was like a, you know, like a C-lister that they could go with. Pretty wild. I listened to an audiobook that was about that scandal rag. Although, like I said, it's been a few years, so I don't recall the title of the magazine. There you go. You always get a little extra, right? Stuff that you didn't care about and you probably still don't care about, but like, man, Jeff really is a fountain of useless knowledge and trivia. All right. So big thank you to Pete Strakulich because he sent along tonight's item that we are taking a peek at. So we are taking a first look at Dungeon Crawl Classics Tome of Adventure, Volume 4, The Purple Planet from Goodman Games. This 200-page hardcover with PDF carries an MSRP of $49.99. You can grab the PDF alone over at DriveThruRPG for $29.99. I should also mention, I believe you can pick this up from Amazon. There is a special coupon offer. You know, if you shop Amazon, you know, you're looking at something and there'll be a little thing. All you got to do is like hit the box. So it puts a check mark in it and it takes money off. This is one of those items, and you can get the physical book for $30 and change. I think it was $30.49. Keep that in mind. I mean, it's got an MSRP of $49.99. You're saving almost $20. It's, you know, the price of the PDF, essentially. Straight Kismet is with us. DB says there's a reason Mitchum made Thunder Road. Like I said, I always liked Robert Mitchum. I don't think he's a fantastic actor. I think Burt Lancaster was a better actor. I always equate Mitchum with like Kirk Douglas. I think Kirk Douglas in most movies is playing Kirk Douglas, which I mean is fine. But I mean, it's kind of like, oh, okay, it's Kirk Douglas being Kirk Douglas. He's being the chin. Whereas Burt Lancaster, he didn't always play the same sort of character. Anyway, let's swing on over to the other camera because here I've got the Purple Planet. Yes, as I just mentioned, this is not a review copy. This was sent to me by Pete Strakulich, who at least earlier was hanging out in chat. Speaking of hanging out in chat, I see Stray Kismet is popping on in. And I was going to say, so this is not a review copy, and we're not going to take a look at each and every page of the book. But we are going to get a good feel for what we're going to find inside. And then lastly, this is an adventure. So, of course, if you're a player and your game master has maybe picked this up, or maybe they've talked about picking this up, or maybe they run Dungeon Crawl Classics and they do pick up the published adventures from Goodman Games. Keep in mind, I know very, very little about this Tome of Adventure, but we're probably going to see some spoilers within. DBS, if I ever saw Friends of Eddie Coyle, you know, that title rings a bell. It says it's Robert Mitchum playing against type. I may have seen it. I may have, because the title is ringing a bell. All right, so let's take a look at the back here. The Purple Planet, where tribes of man-beasts wage an endless war beneath a dying sun, where mighty death arms rule the wastes, befouled winds whistle through ancient crypts, and forests of fungi flourish in the weirdling light, where ancient technologies offer life or a quick death. Bereft of patron, friend, or god, your survival depends on quick wits and a strong blade. Will you and your companions stand as conquerors atop this alien land? Or will you fall beneath the blast of an ink-black death ray, just another corpse left to litter the wastes of the Purple Planet? Tome of Adventure, the Purple Planet contains 5 epic adventures, plus a warlord spoil of additional material to flesh out that alien world beneath the weirdling sun. And then it tells us what's in here, but we're going to be taking a peek. All right, Kevin R. Smith is rocking on out. Good to see you once again. Hopefully we see you later this week. All right, so First thing we'll do is take a peek at the credits page. And yes, Harley Stroh is involved in this. I was going to say, wasn't this a box set? Didn't this start off as a box set? And then Goodman Games did a Kickstarter not that long ago for the box set. And then I know they did, I think it was another Kickstarter where they were doing the Tomes of Adventure, which I just showed you. I just got Tome of Adventure Volume 3, Lankmar. DB says, yes, it was a box set. So it's telling us what is in here. I got to take a stab in the dark. We are going to receive a 0 level funnel. Let's see. Summary of key plot elements, adventure hooks. The Kith, once kin to humans, eons of inbreeding and weird experimentation beneath the dying sun has laid the Kith low. Well over 6 feet in height, their broad shoulders and round bellies lend the appearance of squat, brutish forms. Pale-skinned, their eyes range from ice blue to bone, while their hair is most often white or a sickly yellow. Ursine in appearance, the Kith are unexpectedly quick and far stronger than most humans. They decorate their pale bodies with colorful dyes distilled from the plateau's strange mushrooms. The tattoos serve as a record of a Kith's life and protection against evil spirits. So it looks as if we are going to have this as a new race. Or maybe not. Maybe this is just giving us... Yeah, I guess maybe this is just kind of providing us with information about this species. Maybe we have a whole lot of them to deal with throughout the adventures. So here we've got our player starts. I think the PCs are like essentially thrown into the mix, but I think they start off like Dungeon Crawl Classics characters, and then they find themselves teleported to the Purple Planet, little a la John Carter of Mars kind of deal, I think. Just trying to see what we've got here. So our players start. You and your companions are suffused in dancing flames, eclipsing sight and sound. Just as quickly, the emerald flames recede, revealing that the world around you has been transformed. Oh, there you go. I mean, they're getting thrown right into it. You are standing in a darkened room atop a low dais. In the dying light, you can see lead gray ceilings and floor and a pair of exits. Stairs rising from the chamber to your left and descending from the chamber to your right. The air is stale and thin, leaving you breathless and stinging your lungs. Aha! Lost on the Purple Planet. So we have relics of the ancient. Did I say dais? I meant to say dais. Yeah, I can't even read English tonight, I guess. So we've got areas of the Purple Planets. This does look like kind of a short adventure to get us introduced. We got player handouts. So it must be, so there we've got the like player characters for Goodman Games, which they kind of go through. It's kind of funny because the characters will change as these characters get killed in adventures. I get a kick out of that. So this is what the purple planet's going to look like to them. Oh, we got quite a few handouts here. Sweet. Lost Tomb of the Ancients. The dead of the purple planet do not rest easily and cling to their grave goods with the same tenacity with which they fought to survive in life. When the purple planet began its slow decline, factions arose to vie for the final resources of the dying world. In the days of last wars, the Ascendant Masters used their knowledge of cybernetics and genetic engineering to create increasingly powerful and grotesque biological weapons. One such weapon was Sotark the Destroyer of the long-lost House Memnosine. Damaged and placed in a cryogenic regeneration capsule, Sotark has slept away the ages while the house above him eroded away under the weirdling sun. Over time, the capsule has failed, but still, Sotark sleeps on, diminished, but not destroyed. So it looks as if the player characters are going to check that out. Looks like some short little adventures kind of collected here. It said there were 5 adventures, but obviously enough, there's more than that. Because these are like 4-page adventures. The Tomb of Dust. The Bunker. The bunker transports the party from their starting hex to a destination 2 hexes away. It can be played anywhere on the purple planet map that does not already contain a numbered encounter. It could be hidden beneath the fucking growth of the mushroom forests, lost in the broken lands amid the ancestor peaks, or uncovered by a sandstorm in the wastes. Semper Buffo has popped on in. Good to see you once again. I like space fantasy, gonzo space fantasy. I dig. Funny enough, I like gonzo space fantasy more than I like gonzo fantasy. So here we've got the Purple Planet Companion. So this is going to be our source book about the Purple Planet. The Purple Planet is not easily understood by outsiders. This table provides 74 mysteries you can reference when your characters adventure in the inhospitable wastes. These can serve as random encounters, encounter seeds, or the start of a new adventure. So back to the Kith. So there you go. So we do get the opportunity for players to take on the role of the Kith. Because here we got the Kith class. Lost tech of the ancients. Almost looks like, and I understand there were different releases for the Purple Planet, but it's kind of funny because it's sort of like, okay, so we had some adventures, then we get into a source book, then it looks like we're back to some short adventures, and then we get into Escape from the Purple Planet, which is also an adventure. This is a 0 level adventure. And then further adventures on the Purple Planet. And of course, presentation is what we've come to expect from Goodman Games. Paper stock's nice. So we have the line artwork. We've got our keyed areas. So this looks like this is another adventure. Then we got some handouts, right? Then we have Sky Masters, the Purple Planet. This is a level 6 adventure. So right about mid-level, right? Because we have only 10 levels in Dungeon Crawl Classics. Pete Strakovich says, I'm curious about that rocket-propelled head in a jar. Yeah, that's actually the artwork that I used for the my social media today. Then we've got Chessmen of the Purple Planet. This is a brand new level 3 adventure. As far as the way the book is presented, it seems as if rather than separating the previous releases to put things kind of in order, like for an example, you'd start off with the 0 level adventure. And then if you have a first level adventure, this one is levels 3 and 4. That's not how this is presented. It looks like this is presented with the specific releases, maybe in the order of those releases coming out. And then we have a glossography. Okay. So we're going to get some different options, some variants. And we're into our appendices. This is Diaspora of the Death Orms. Sages have shown us how the Purple Planet is awash in warring factions, each vying for supremacy. But what may appear an eternal struggle is merely a function of the limited lens of the viewer. In the broader scope of time, one that encompasses eons rather than centuries, there is an end, indeed, to all life inhabiting the multiverse, and that end will begin on the Purple Planet. Bum, bum. All right, so we got more handouts here. Variant greenstones. Kith Warband generator. I thought we saw this a little earlier in the book. Maybe this is just collecting these in one convenient spot. Kith Doom Dice. On the eve of battle, Kith warriors engage in the grim ritual of dicing for each other's belongings. They gather around sputtering fires with carven bone dice and determine, should they die upon the morrow, who will receive their weapons, armor, war chattel, and effects. But sometimes the slaughter is absolute, leaving none to pick over the bloody aftermath, save flocks of gore-splattered gribs. That's some cool art here. And we'll get some advertisements to wrap up. And that is a peek inside Dungeon Crawl Classics, Tome of Adventure, Volume 4, The Purple Planet from Goodman Games. I will have a review of this in the not too distant future. So, and once again, big thank you to Pete Strakovich for sending this along for us to take a peek at and for me to share a review with you. All righty. Very nice. If you're curious, what is cooking for the rest of the week? One thing to mention, next week, there will be one show on Tuesday night, and then I will be off through... Well, you know what? I'll actually be off for a while. I actually was kicking around maybe doing a live stream for New Year's Eve. But yeah, I don't know. All right. So the way it should work is I would have a show a week from today, and then I would not have another live stream until January 6th. Oh, that's a great anniversary date. Huh. Or I could. See, the thing is, I don't know if anybody would really tune in to a live stream on New Year's Eve. And when I say a live stream New Year's Eve, I mean at its usual time. I don't mean we're going to ring in the new year, right? So, I'll decide. I will give my decision on the live stream a week from today on the 23rd. Should also point out, be sure to tune in on the 23rd because it's Christmas time. And what happens around Christmas time? What do people get? Nauseous? No, that's not. But you're going to have to be watching live. That is going to be the prerequisite this year. Anyway, all right. So, rest of the week. Tomorrow, we're going to take a look at the Hooded Man role-playing game from Osprey Games. I believe this is Robin Hood, is what this is supposed to be. And then on Thursday's show, we're going to dive on in, take a look at Paranoia, Brave New Missions. That is the title, right? Yes. From Mongoose Publishing. So we'll be taking a peek at that. All right. And then I think a week from tonight, we will take a look at the final box set I have from Gooey Cube. Sweet. All righty then. So that is it for this time out. If you were watching live, thank you very much. If you watched live and took part in chat, tip of the cap to you, because not only were you keeping me company, but also keeping each other company as I'm sharing the news and flipping through a book and so forth. Of course, I know a lot of folks out there, you don't have an opportunity to watch live. Doesn't matter if you're watching live or on Memorex. Thank you very much for taking time out to watch any of the videos here on the channel. It really does mean a lot to me. Everybody enjoy the rest of your morning, afternoon, evening, whatever time of day it is in your neck of the woods. If you like the video, by all means, please give it a quick thumbs up. Subscribe to the Gaming Gang channel if you haven't already. And if you do subscribe, don't forget, ring that bell. Why didn't that just start doing it? Now it is. Hey, come on. Anyway, if you do subscribe, be sure to ring that bell because it's supposed to notify you when I share other videos, such as my recent review of the Dolmen Wood campaign book from Necrotic Gnome and Exalted Funeral. Once again, I'm Jeff McAleer. Happy holidays, everybody. And until next time, I certainly hope all of you get to enjoy plenty of great gaming with your gang.